We use operators to create expressions. Now, what is an expression? Expression is something that performs some calculations and then returns a value. Okay. And we use operators to create expressions, and there are arithmetic operators, assignment operators, comparison operators, logical operators, and bitwise operators in JavaScript. Arithmetic operators are used for performing calculations. They are really simple. So we have addition operator, we have multiplication, subtraction, division, remainder, and exponentiation operator. Very, very self-explanatory. I won't be spending much time on them. Then we have an increment operator, double plus, and we have a decrement operator, double minus. I need to spend a little bit of time on it because I've seen developers making very silly mistakes when working with increment operators and decrement operators because the definition that you find online, most of them are wrong. Okay, so there can be two variations of increment operator. One is a postfix where we have plus after the variable, and when we have a prefix where we have pluses before a variable. So let's see what they are. Okay, I'll create a variable, say let x is equal to 10 maybe. Okay, now what plus plus does is it adds 1 to the variable. Okay, so that is increment. It increments it by 1, the number by 1. So what I can do is I can do something like x plus plus, and if I see the result is still 10, it's not 11. And now if I log here x, then I see that x is actually 11. So why is this difference, right? If x is 11, it should have logged here 11, right? On the other hand, if I prefix it, you will see that 11 is logged here and here. So what is the difference between prefixing prefixing increment and postfixing increment? Okay, let's see the subtle difference between them. So when postfix is used, okay, when the plus is after the variable, the increment operator increments. Okay, so what the definition is saying, even if it's x plus plus, the value of x is incremented. There is no doubt about that. But if you understand the meaning of an expression does something and returns something, right? So the does part, the doing part has already increased the value of x to 11. There is no doubt about that. Okay. You can look into an MDN article which will explain this very, very well. But you don't need to go through that. I'll explain it to you. So this has already incremented the value of x to 11. But an expression returns something. So when it is postfixed, the old value is returned from this expression. The doing part has increased the value of x, but the expression that it returns the old value. Okay. If we do a prefixing, again, prefixing is an expression. It does two things. It does something and it returns something. What it has done is exactly the same. It has increased the value of x to 11. No doubt about that. But what it returns the value after the increment. Okay. So what this returns is 11. So that's why you see 11 here. Okay. So in short, if you immediately want to return something from the expression and you are consuming it, be mindful if you are using postfix or prefix. If you are using prefix, the value will be incremented. If you are using postfix, the value will be incremented. But what will be returned as a result of expression will be different in both the cases. And the same holds true for the decrement operator as well. Okay, so spend some time, do some experiment, understand it well. It's important. I've seen so many code, people getting frustrated that why it's not working. My postfixing, my prefixing is not working. No, it's working, but you're not using it in the correct way. Okay, so it's an important thing that I wanted to cover here. Then we have assignment operators. Okay, so assignment operators are used to assign value to a variable. The left side operand of the assignment operator is a variable. The left side of assignment operator is a variable, and the right side is the value. Okay, so I want to assign a value of 10 to my variable x, then I use the assignment operator called equals to. Very simple. Okay, then there are some, compound assignment operators. For example, addition assignment. So I want x to be equal to x plus 5. So I have a shorthand for that, which is x plus equals to 5. Okay. If I want x to be equal to x multiplied by 3, this is called multiplication assignment operator. So x is equal to x into 3. And similarly, this is available for all arithmetic operators. Quite simple. You may play around with it to get a little bit more comfortable with them. Then we have comparison operators. Operators that compares value and returns either true or false. So we have these relational comparison operators. Okay, is x greater than 5? Is x greater than or equal to 5? Return me true or false. Is x less than 5? Is x less than or equal to 5? So these are relational comparison operators. We have equality checks. Okay, equality comparison operators. So is x strictly equal to 5? Is x strictly not equal to 5? Is x loosely equal to 5? Is x loosely not equal to 5? So what is the difference between strict equality and loose equality, friends? So strict equality checks for the type first. Okay, so if the types are equal, only then it moves ahead, else it returns false, that they are not equal. Loose equality tries to coerce the type. Okay, so for example, friends, let's look at a quick example of this, as this is an important concept. So let x is equal to 10. Let y is equal to a string 10. So if I'm comparing x and y, so I'm comparing, is x equal to y? Basically, we are asking JavaScript a question, that is x equal to y, and return me true or false. So it will obviously return false, right? Because if you see type of x and if you see type of y, they are different. Okay, one is a number, another is a string. And the strict equality checks for the type first. And if the types are different of the operands, it returns false. Game over. Okay. But what loose equality do is it tries to make a guess on your behalf. Okay, so what it does is it tries to change the type of right hand side to that of the left hand side. So it tries to convert it to a number, and it is able to do that. And then it compares. So it tries to help you. Okay. It tries to do some type converting from right hand side to left hand side, and then compares it. So loose equality, double equals, and strict equality, triple equals. Okay. So I have written some details here. The type of RHS to type of LHS. So first conversion happens. JavaScript tries to make their types equal, and then the actual comparison happens. In the strict equality, as soon as types are different, a false is returned. Okay, no further checks are done. The next type of operator is a ternary operator, which is very similar to ternary operators in other languages. So we write a condition. This is an expression which returns either true or false. And if it's a truthy condition, if the result is truthy, the first argument or first value after the sign of interrogation, it is returned. And if it returns a falsy value, the value after the colon will be returned. Okay, so this is an expression. What is a truthy value? What is a falsy value? We will look into it, so don't worry about that. For now, you may think that if it returns true, this first value will be returned from this expression. If this expression returns false, this value will be returned from this entire expression. Okay, really simple. Okay, I think we can run this code just to get an idea. So if I log status, what would I see, friends? What would I see? Let marks is equal to 100. Okay. And since marks is greater than 50, so we are getting a pass. So this expression is returning pass, and that gets assigned to state. Okay. These words are important, right? This is an expression which either returns true or false. This entire thing is an expression which returns either this or this based on the value of this, the return value of this. Okay, and that gets assigned to this variable, whatever is returned from this entire expression. Okay, but if the marks is below 50, for example, if it's 35, then you will see that we get back fail. Okay, so pretty simple. You may play around with it a little bit. And then we have logical operators. Okay, logical operators with booleans and logical operators with non-booleans. This will get a little bit tricky, and you will see the use of this in React a lot. So we will go into a little bit of depth of logical operators. So we have logical AND. Now we are dealing with just the booleans. Okay, we are just dealing with true or false. So if both the operands or all of the operands are true, then we get back a true. Okay, for logical OR, it gives us true only if any one of the operand is true, and gives us true only if all of the operands are true, else it gives us false. Logical OR, if any one of the operand is true, it returns us true. And the NOT operator will return true only if the operand is false. Okay, So let's look at a couple of examples. So I'll just copy this example to save some time. Okay, so we have some Boolean values. So we have something like nose HTML, which is true. Nose CSS is true. We will change it. Nose JS is true. And we have something like advanced skills like nose React, nose Angular, nose Vue. And we have a Boolean value for all of them. So and these are datas of a developer. So if a developer knows HTML, he or she knows CSS and knows JS, they are a junior developer, for example. And if they know React or know Angular or know Vue, if they know any one of them, they are a senior developer. Okay. And if they are neither junior or senior, they are rejected. Okay. Some very simple logic I have created so that you are able to play around with it and understand it. And if you will see that, is junior developer true? True, because they know HTML and they know CSS and they know JS. So all the operands of this and, all the operands of this logical AND are true. So this entire expression is returning true. Okay. Here we will see that all of them are false. All of them are false, right? So it returns false. If I make any one of them true, if I make any one of them true, it will return a true. So and returns true if any one of them are true. No return and no, logical and returns true only if all of them are true. Even if I make one false, for example, our developer knows HTML, they know JS, but they don't know CSS. Are they junior? No, they are false. Okay. So we need all of them to be true in order for this expression to return true. We need all of them, any one of them to be true in order for this expression to return true. Okay. And the negation operator basically, if this is false, if the result of this expression is false, only then it will give me a true. Only then will they be rejected. Okay. Pretty simple. This is simple. Nothing complex here. The things will get a little bit complex when we deal with logical operators and non-booleans. Okay. Friends, I'll introduce you to a very special concept in JavaScript, which is the concept of falsy and truthy. Okay. I'm not saying true or false. I'm saying truthy or falsy. There are only 6 falsy values in JavaScript. Only 6 falsy values. Rest all of them are truthy. Okay. And those falsy values are undefined null, not a number, 0, empty string, and false. Undefined, null, not a number, 0, empty string, and false. These 6 are falsy values. Apart from them, all other values are truthy. Okay. Let's do a quick test. Okay. Let x is equal to an empty string. Is it truthy or falsy? It's falsy, right? Let x is equal to Vivek. Is it truthy or falsy? It's a truthy value, right? Because it's not falsy. If x is equal to 0, is it truthy or falsy? It's a falsy value. let x is equal to 1. It's a truthy value because it's not falsy. Okay. Let x is equal to true. It's a truthy value. Let x is equal to false. It's a falsy value. Okay, friends. So apart from undefined, null, nan, zero, empty string, and false, everything else is truthy. Okay. Now understand, friends. When we use logical OR with non-booleans, JavaScript looks for the first truthy value and returns that. Okay. It does not go any point ahead of that. It does not travel further. As soon as it finds the first truthy value, it will return that. Friends, I've seen lots of developers getting lot of confused because of, and this is not confusing at all once you understand it. Okay, and I'm sure you'll get it in just a minute. So friends, I have a value false. A is false, B is 0. Obviously it's falsy, right? And C is null, which again is falsy. Z will get the value which is returned from this expression. Friends, what will be returned from this expression? A is false, B is 0, C is null. What will be returned from this expression? All three are falsy values. So friends, null will be returned. Why? It checks for A, it's false. Since it's falsy, it moves to B. Again, it's falsy. It moves to C. And finally, it finds a truthy value and just returns it. It finds a falsy value and it returns the last falsy value that it finds. Okay. Now let me make these two truthy. Okay. Let me make this Vivek. Let me make this true. Okay. So now our first is false, falsy value. Second is truthy. And third is truthy. So what will happen? It will look for A. It will check for A. It's falsy. It moved to B. B is truthy. Then our logical OR will be really happy because it found one truthy. It does not need anything else. It is contented. Okay. As soon as it finds the first truthy value, it will return us that. So it gives us back Vivek, and it never checks for C. This is important to note. It never checks for C. As soon as it finds the first truthy value, it simply returns us that. So friends, suppose I give it another truthy value, say true. What will I get back? I'll get back true, right? So it checks for A. It gets a truthy value. It's super delighted because it's looking for just one truthy value and it got that. And it will return me the first truthy value. The second and the third value will never be evaluated or checked. Is it clear to all of us? Good. Now let's look at, so you have these examples in my notes. I'll be sharing my notes with you so you can revise it quickly. About AND, when we use logical AND with non-booleans, JavaScript either returns the first falsy value it finds, and if all of them are truthy, it returns the last truthy value. Let's try to understand that, friends. Let's try to understand that. So our logical OR is contented. It just needs one truthy value and it returns true. Our logical AND is a bit critical. Okay, it's just looking for one falsy value, and even if it finds one falsy value, the entire expression will return false. Okay, so in this case, all three of them are truthy. Okay, so The logical AND finds a truthy value, but it's critical. It's looking for one falsy value. It's not contended. It checks for B. Again, it finds a truthy value. It checks for C. Again, it finds a truthy value. And finally, it returns the last truthy value that it finds. So we will see that we get back Rishi. Okay. What will happen if we have a falsy value here? So what if we have a 0 here? Any guess what would be the result? Yes, it would be 0. So our logical AND will check for the first value. It's a truthy value. With its critical eyes, it will go to the second operand. It's a falsy value. The AND operator does not need to check anything further. It has found one falsy value, and that is enough for it to return a falsy value. So it will return back 0 to us. The point to remember is that this C will never be checked. If we had an expression here, that expression will never be evaluated. As soon as the logical AND finds a falsy value, it simply returns it, friends. Okay. Now tell me, what if this again is a falsy value, something like null? What will happen, friends? Think about it. JavaScript will check, the logical AND will check for the first one. It finds falsy. It is just looking for one falsy value, right? And it has found that. This expression B and C will never be evaluated, and this first falsy value that it finds will be returned back. So Z will be null. Friends, this logical operator without booleans, you will see the use of this a lot in React. Okay, so practice it a little bit, get comfortable with it, and we'll move ahead to, I hope this concept is clear to you. We'll move to control flow in our next lesson.